So, and it really is a clear, it's a clear message too, when I finally do make contact with her. And it's not easy to achieve. This is my experience. Maybe there are many Catholic people in the world who do appeal to Mary and they hear back. But in my experience, it's really when things are the rockiest, when there's the most need, when there's um, no hope, and so forth. It can be a very painful experience too, where you have, I think, well, Elizabeth says, quote unquote, you shorten your life. I think what she means by shorten your life, um, I'm not sure what that means. I think that it really means when you deliberately decompile the chakra work you did that day because you're so frustrated and angry that destruction seems important. And I suppose, that's a Shiva impulse to an extent. I think that Shiva probably, quote unquote, destroys in a more productive way than um, than a lot of self hatred in the moment. But things get very bad for people who are isolated. Things get very bad for people who are who are in a bad part of samsara, and I think Mary comes to those people when she can find those people. And really, the world is it's a lot of to the masters and to the masters, alpha and omega, the exteriorities. It is difficult um, to it's difficult to assist because there's so much chaos in the ether surrounding the planet. First of all, I mean, there are a lot of discarnate souls out there, correct? That's why we do the Friday clearing. One of the reasons why the Order of the Golden Lily clears the discarnates from the etheric plane. They shouldn't be in the etheric plane. So, but around the planet, um, the masters try to see. The all-seeing eye tries to see as well, and that's an important piece of awareness. Is that the all-seeing eye looks down, for instance, and will understand that a family is in peril, or understand that this doesn't look right from the standpoint of all the bad, uh, the negatively charged uh, particles in that part of the Akashic record. The all-seeing eye will see it and attempt to transmute it or attempt to bring human agency in to heal a specific area and so forth. That's why there are building fires, and that's why, um, places eventually get torn down. It's because they've been blighted, basically. And the all-seeing eye understands that, I think, but yet, unfortunately, human agency doesn't intervene as effectively as it should all the time. So we pray for more awareness and so forth. So you have the all-seeing eye surrounding the planet, attempting to understand where God needs to focus. You have us down here on the planet, the light bearers, who pray and decree so that we draw the attention, and so that we receive that blessing and that extra energy from through the crystal cord mentioned in Ecclesiastes, by the way, and so on. Um, and yet there are souls on the planet who are bearing more karma, or who have been forced to bear more karma, and who have been more affected by the fallen ones than those people around them. That's just the reality of the situation. Um, and unfortunately, some of the holiest people in the world are the most beset spiritually. I believe that's the way to put that. You know, Mother Teresa is a saint to us. She's a saint to the Roman Church as well. And she struggled to find God for years, even after she became a nun. She felt abandoned. A lot of the saints feel that way. And I think that is because they are bearing more karma than maybe they should sometimes. Um, and it's not a question of fate all the time necessarily either. It's really a question of the mechanical workings down here, how our families operate, how our churches and our friends, either do or don't provide assistance under certain circumstances, and so on. But they said at Nityananda school, a friend of mine there explained that their belief is that it's not the guru that it's not you who needs the guru. If I present or someone presents that they're the guru, a guru, it's not that they're presenting that you need them. It's that they need you. The guru needs you. And really, that is true because the guru is balancing karma for people in your family, for you personally. I mean, the best thing in the world to do if you need assistance personally in life is to help a guru, because the guru needs you. So to say, so, and I understand that pretty clearly. It's not that a guru says, "Oh, all these people need me, and here I am, and you all need to, I don't know, either bow down or pay attention to what I'm saying, or whatever the situation is." Really, the guru is there because the guru needs you. Um, that's a gift. It's a gift that the guru gives to you freely because the guru is balancing karma in a way that can only benefit you, if it's a valid guru. So consider that. But Mary really comes to people who are, in my experience, um, who are really at the end of their ropes spiritually. But to pray for her, to pray to Mary, and maybe other people are blessed with direct communication with Mary. I do have direct communication with Mary, but I fight for it. It's not something that comes easily to me under these circumstances at all. But it is an actual connection where information is revealed to me, and I know that it's valid because you don't ask the children at Fatima whether or not their experience with Mary is valid. They know it's valid. We all know it's valid. So when you're in the presence of Mary, you'll know it, and that's just the reality of the situation. Do I think Mary is making comments about the Republican Party, or making certain comments that I know are not accurate about certain political topics? When I read it in the paper, stuff coming out of Medjugorje, I'm like, well, I know she didn't say that. So I do pause and I wonder, when I read that, why is this misqualified? Is it the writer who's putting it in there, or did the channel um, err by putting that information in there, that sort of thing? Um, but when I talk to Mary, I know it's real because I can hear her and I know that it's nobody else. And I think most people understand clairaudience. I mean, doesn't everybody hear the words of other people presently embodied and so forth in their minds? That's just something that you achieve as you evolve, right? Nobody talks about it, but it's just the reality of the situation. We're very, I guess, hesitant to discuss that in Western culture, but it is true. And so communicating with Mary is a bit like that. But really, for me, it's really words that I see around me that I know are Marian words. And by Marian words, I mean really direct communication from the Holy Mother. And it's not anybody else. It's not through um, sort of, I guess, anybody else's soul garments. Like periodically, I don't know, one will hear their spiritual children, or one will hear um, from, other information from other sources. And sometimes from jivas who are not really embodied as human beings on the planet as well, which is interesting. And it's really easy to tell, like, what's authentic. Most of the negative evil energy I think you'll find are actually here now, are actually the fallen ones. When you hear negativity, are actually human beings who are fallen. That's what's doing that. I guess I might be lucky. Maybe periodically they get in there, but most of the non-embodied entities are pure when they're in communication with me. I know that they're angelic from the tone and from the content. But Mary is different. Mary is, yeah, it does sound like your mother in a way, but you know that it's not really your biological mother. And in fact, when you seek her out, you pray out the other influences, even if they're positive influences that are trying to communicate. Um, I'm not saying to shorten your life or to do something that will um, depress your system's ability to um, to maintain the chakras in the proper state. All your chakras should be lit, like the virgins in the Bible and in the Jesus parable. All of your chakras should be lit and ready to receive. But Mary says specific things to me periodically. And I do mean specific things. And her principal message, one time I remember specifically, was that she is a being of mercy, you see. That's her whole reality, is mercy. Which is what she explained to me. I am nothing but mercy. And yet, when I try to look down, I can't find what it is that I need to do. She was speaking on behalf of God as well. She was saying they. In the background, I could hear her refer to they, really the masters, and I think probably God, I would imagine Alpha, can't find what it is and how sorrowful that is for her, and why it is that we need to band together, and so on. So, right, that's it's important to know, and that was a clear message that she's a being of mercy, and that yet she can't find people. And elsewhere, one of the ways to assist with your own awakening to Mary, I used Nada initially, and as a matter of fact, I went for a period of time where I could hear Nada here and Mary here, and the two of them were sort of in conversation with each other. And Nada, actually, for me, started out to be kind of a friendly version of Mary, or a version of Mary that is more like a cousin. Mary, of course, is entirely pure mother energy. And by that I do mean pure energy, as in untainted by the physical world, and entirely uncorrupt. I think that, some of the there's male and female energy among the masters, but in with the Virgin Mother, you can't communicate with the Virgin Mother if she's anything other than your mother, from the standpoint of chakra law. It has to be a pure mother-son or mother-daughter relationship. It's not a friend level relationship like with Nada, where I don't know, Nada might, in my experience, Nada could have a sense of humor, might joke around or something. With Mary, you really are trying to get to that pure mother essence that is entirely pure, that is virgin energy, and so on, protective virgin energy, as opposed to, I don't know, lower energy that might be qualified with something that is not entirely pure. Well, when we say prem and om, we know what om means, but prem is pure love, the divine love of the Creator, and the pure love of the Creator. I think that I'm not sure if that's identical to what I mean with the Virgin Omega energy, But really, you have to cut through like the lower vibrations when you're praying and when you're being clairaudient. Let's just say that because that's the word for it. So when you're working with that information, the Marian information is the mother, is the pure mother information. And I had to make the distinction between that, 6 or 7 years ago when I was working. And I thought I was talking to Mary because I was thinking, well, Mary, young woman, young Jewish mother in the Middle East with a baby and visiting with, Martha and Elizabeth and so forth. But I realized that it's not the same thing as just having a friend. It is the mother energy that you have to access. But for a while I was conversing with her, and then I realized that it wasn't really Mary. It wasn't really the Virgin Mary. It was really Nada. And then so there was a separation at that point where